The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown! They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
And welcome to the College Football Week 2 reaction show. Here joined by Andrew and Justin. Guys, what a week 2, man. Me and Justin said on Thursday this week was going to suck. I thought I was going to have other plans, maybe do some errands, do some chores. But no, I've actually just been a bum in my chair all day watching some college football.
You know you couldn't stay away, dude.
Dude, we're nerds. This is what we do. We sit our ass on the couch and watch a bunch of 20-year-olds hit each other.
Right.
Some dudes are like 25, 27. So.
Dude, between this group chat and my fantasy group chats, I was working a game today. I must have had like 900 text messages. I was like, I'm not even reading this shit, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be working a game next Saturday, which kind of sucks, but
yeah.
You know. So let's get into business. First game of the day, big noon kickoff. Texas versus Michigan. Michigan didn't handle Texas well, end up getting blown out. And
no, sir.
What I want to say is Michigan's got a lot of questions to answer about their identity, because the one thing I think you take away from this game is what is Michigan football and what is their style after being national champions? What can they really do? I don't know. I think you should have went in the portal for a quarterback if you knew Orji wasn't going to be the answer, because they had a lot riding on that, and obviously shows with Davis Warren, him not being able to do much. Yeah, guys, take this away, because I want to hear your opinions.
So I'm going to just lead off, I guess, because I am looking right at their box score right now, and Michigan's box score actually isn't terrible. They had 284 total yards. Like, if you're a stats guy, you're like, oh, Michigan probably hung their hat, wasn't that close, wasn't that bad. No, this game did not look like the stats at all. No. They got absolutely hammered in all 4 quarters, minus a garbage time touchdown that ruined my parlay. I'm not bitter.
And I mean, if you look at Texas and what they did, they weren't really effectively running the ball on Michigan at all. It was more so Quinn Ewers, and he's as good as advertised. I think he kind of showed that against a pretty good defense. I think Michigan on offense, I mean, they threw the ball 33 times, but they were trying to come back the whole game. It's kind of disheartening, the quarterback situation. This is where we ended up with all the quarterbacks that were on the portal market. We have Davis Warren, and apparently Alex Orji can't throw a pass. And Colston Loveland is your only threat in the pass game. Like, the Samaj Morgan's okay, but I mean, after that, dude, it's a huge drop off. And I just think they're going to struggle to find an identity all year. I mean, I think they're staring 8-4, 7-5 right down the barrel.
You go, Andrew.
I think, honestly, a lot of I mean, we're from Detroit, as everyone knows that probably watches this. I think a lot of people fell for, again, I'm going to harken this back to, like, the Hoke era of just Michigan preseason hype. Being like, oh, we're going to reload, we're deep. Donovan Edwards is the guy. Colston Loveland's going to go for, well, I guess he went for 70 yards today, but all these other receivers are going to stack up. But Edwards has not shown up. He didn't show up before. I'm kind of questioning, like, did Michigan fans get duped again? Is it back like 2014-15?
Let me comment on the Donovan Edwards thing. I've kind of been out in front of this all year. I never thought he was a number 1 back. He's never been. Like I said, he's a guy that can rip off some long runs. He did in 2022 against Ohio State. He had a huge game, but that team from last year, man, that group, that offensive line, you lost Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson. I mean, that was a special group. That was probably the best group that best Michigan team I've ever seen since I've been alive. You know what I mean? And it's going to take a while to fill those shoes. I mean, they're starting a redshirt freshman at right tackle. You know what I mean? And then you're going to lose 3 of your offensive linemen after this year. So then it's really going to be another transition. Like, they brought some back from that national championship team last year, but they're fixing to lose a lot of guys after this season, man. It's going to be Sharon's going to have to completely build this thing up, rebuild, and it seems to me like they're wanting to get out and run these 3-4 wide receiver sets, which they do not have personnel to do.
What I will say is, Donovan Edwards, he was piss poor last year. He had one big game in the national championship, and other than that, he was just kind of a secondary back. Try to use him for gadget plays when Blake Corum ran for 3 or 4 plays, and Khalil Mullings got about the same snaps as Donovan Edwards did last year, right? Michigan, if they are not able to out physical teams on the defensive line or have their defensive line out physical offensive linemen, they're going to lose. It's just that simple. They have the talent advantage up front on most teams, except with Texas. Texas had over 120 starters return, or over 120 total starts on the offensive line returning.
Yeah, that's a lot of starters.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm glad I reworded that. But no, I mean, they just teams that are going to be able to block Michigan are going to be able to beat them by multiple possessions. And how many other teams can block Michigan? Not much on the schedule, man. I'll be completely honest. They are very talented up front defensively. But, I mean, the only other game I'm looking at the schedule is Oregon, which Oregon I don't even know anymore. They might lose to.
After today, I don't really know about a lot of people besides Georgia, Ohio State, and probably Texas.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So yeah, but I mean, we'll see in 2 weeks because they'll get a bounce back game versus Arkansas State. Hopefully there's no Notre Dame situation, which we'll get into that actually in a minute. And then they play USC, and I think that's going to be a really pivotal game on where their season can go because I think in terms of talent across the board, they're probably about the same from what I've read so far. So I'm very interested to see what Michigan does and how they bounce back and what if they're going to go with different personnel on offense or what they're really going to do.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know Colston Loveland gave his Tim Tebow speech after the game, but we'll see where that goes.
Beyond that USC game, their first road game is at Washington.
And Washington's looked kind of solid with Will Rogers.
Yeah, but
and going to the West Coast. I mean, historically, the Big Ten does terribly on the West Coast. I know Washington's in the Big Ten now, but that's still 2 time zones. And we'll see how young, inexperienced team. I mean, they'll have 5 games under the belt by then, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, we all wrapped up on this topic?
Yeah, there ain't much to say.
All right, a lot to say about this game. So Northern Illinois goes into South Bend, upsets the Irish, get a game-winning field goal, which, by the way, if you weren't watching the game live and this is really the first time you're hearing a recap about it, Northern Illinois kind of got hoed. Notre Dame got an extra timeout. Because the clock didn't run after they reviewed if he was short or not of the first down, and they just left 40 seconds up on the board. Luckily, it didn't come down to matter, and that's the reason why nobody's talking about it. But regardless, I mean, Northern Illinois they had moments where they just powered over Notre Dame. They were able to run the ball. Brown was a really good running back. Williams was able to be a guy on the outside. This team defensively also, they made Riley Leonard kind of what they did a lot was they tried to make him run up to the middle and step up in the pocket. And Riley Leonard wants to run kind of like Kyler Murray side to side. And he wasn't able to do that and extend those plays the way he's traditionally done it. And I just got to say, I got to give props to the Northern Illinois coaching staff, man. They did a really good job prepping for this game and finding success and making sure that gave Notre Dame a tough time, and this is the second time Notre Dame's gotten upset by a non-Power 5 school. If you remember 2 years ago, they got upset by Marshall at home as well. So,
Yeah.
And Notre Dame, after last week, we all thought, hey, they're going to be a playoff team. It's confirmed. Now I don't know. I really don't know.
No, I think like you hit on it a little bit. It's crazy because Northern Illinois was actually the more physical team today. Like they literally, you know what I mean, ran the ball right down Notre Dame's throat. I mean, it wasn't like they were ripping off long runs or anything on them, but you know what I mean. They were able to move the ball on the ground against them, and we thought Notre Dame coming into this game had a pretty good defense. And Riley Leonard has just stunk. I mean, even in the A&M game last week, he kind of turned it on a little bit at the end. This is the second year in a row that Marcus Freeman's went with the transfer portal quarterback. And I don't think this one's going to work either. The kind of conventional offense that they're running with these guys, with Leonard, he's more of an RPO kind of guy, get out on the edges, you know what I mean? Improvise with his feet. I don't think it's going to work with Notre Dame this year.
Yeah, I mean, what they did last week that gave them a lot of success was just they ran the ball, they got in some RPO, they got in some play action passing situations that really had success for them. And then today they just kind of went away from that entirely. Like they tried to go all West Coast offense and throw on them, thinking they could just overpower Northern Illinois. And hit the stat lines, and they got sacked twice. Didn't give up a single sack. Didn't get a single sack. 3 and 10 on third down. Like they changed their identity, and it didn't. And I think the post-game interview, the head coach said it really well. It's on him. He changed. The game plan runs through him. He changed the game plan and hit him in the ass.
Yeah, and I was actually big on Riley Leonard coming into this year, so I guess I was wrong again because today's just been one of those wacky weeks in college football.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard's not much of a passer, though. I mean, if you look at the stat lines from the past 2 seasons, he's been a guy that's been able to elevate a team just because of his legs, but he's also gotten hurt in both years too. And last year he missed a lot of significant time, which is why Duke wasn't as successful as they were in 2022.
Well, let's play a game today. Each team we talk about, I'm going to ask you guys this: Riley Leonard or Davis Warren?
I'd take Riley Leonard. Yeah.
All right, so that's one for the other guy because we're all going with Riley Leonard on this one.
I don't think we're going to have very many Davis Wardens. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I can't wait for you to ask the next one.
Okay. Hampton for Northern Illinois or Davis Warren? Probably.
Hampton really just managed the game well. I mean, he didn't have to make too many big plays. He was able to run and convert on some third downs. He did a really good job of just managing this offense and having very situational awareness as well when they needed to switch personnel or when they needed to get out of bounds. And I think just Northern Illinois was way more into this game than Notre Dame. And I think that's really just the final story about it. You look at the head coaches compared to both teams. Dude, the Northern Illinois head coach, I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
I haven't studied much MAC football.
Yeah, which we need to because there's going to be Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, man. We're going to be recording, and Toledo's going to be playing Kent State, which Kent State lost to an FCS team, by the way, today.
Yeah.
But
was it Colorado?
No, it was.
Okay.
No, Colorado is currently down 28-10. But I think
we lost Andrew.
Yeah.
Gone.
Andrew's currently being having the Martian sent in on his computer, and he's going to be Andrew, join back. Leave and join back. There you go. Let's see. No, he's not even loading. Wow. But yeah, Andrew, just go to your email. Yeah, he's going to leave completely. Okay. Anyways, to finish up this game before we move to what happened in Kinnick Stadium today, I think the running backs look good for Notre Dame. Price and Love were very good runners for the Notre Dame offense. I think their offensive line did okay still. I mean, Northern Illinois, yeah, they were able to get stops, but like when they came to run blocking, they did a solid job. They tried to lean on Leonard too much, and I don't think it didn't really work out for them in the end.
Yeah, it's inevitable that Notre Dame's going to blow it like they do every year, and they're never going to make the playoffs in the format that it is now. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say never. They only have one loss on their schedule, but
And I think it was Northern Illinois.
It was Northern Illinois, so that kind of
they can't lose another game this year.
Yeah.
They have to dominate.
Yeah, they have to look. You know, when they played USC last year, how dominant they look in that game. They got to do that for the rest of the season, pretty much. Because
we have to be able to bet the over on every game they play the rest of the season,
right? Or at least the team total over.
I think Notre Dame is like 10, and they have to be 10-2 to make the playoffs to be considered, and they got to be playing like really good football down the stretch.
They're going to get the 9 seed or the 9 to 12 seed, and it's gonna.
Yeah.
I still think. I mean, there's still a good. It's early football, man. Their defense still played pretty well today. If I'm going to be honest, they gave their offense a lot of opportunities, and they just were not able to have success. Like I thought Notre Dame was going to dominate this game after the first drive. I was going to be like, man, I could turn this off, watch something more meaningful. And no, instead I'm glued to this game until literally the clock hit 0, which is not what I was expecting.
Not only were you probably glued to that game, but you probably had a split screen with like 4 different games at the same time.
I actually have it right now on my TV. And the split screen for one of the other games, it was to the right of the Notre Dame NIU game. The Cyhawk, Iowa State.
Dagger. I love Iowa.
I really thought Iowa was going to dominate, man. They went up 13-0. Cade McNamara was playing solid in the first half. You know what? It came down to the final play. And
you know what, Noah? I'm calling you out right now on this show, and I'm going to let everybody know what he said in the group chat. Andrew knows what I'm talking about. He goes, "We're going to do a top 12 this week, guys," and Iowa's going in it. And
I'll call myself out because I agreed with him.
And shortly after he made this bold
dude, literally as soon as I said it, Iowa State scores a touchdown. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Another touchdown to Noel. Here we go. They're just throwing it all over him.
Right.
And it was 13-0 at halftime. It was a little premeditated. But
you forgot to realize that Cade threw is good for about 100 yards a game, and he got it in the first half.
Yeah. No, he literally didn't have like any passing yards until like the final couple of drives in that game. And shout out to Rocco Beck, man. He did a really good job of leading this offense, coming back. They should have played better, obviously. Only 20 points. You're able to get it in one half, which is impressive. But if you do it in the other one, man, could have sped up Iowa. But
how did Cade not get 100 yards on 30 pass attempts?
Because he's Cade, and he
dude. But I thought because Caleb Johnson was playing like a freak today, man.
Hey, he's a stud. I'll give him
this is the same thing that happened with Notre Dame happened with Iowa. Man, you're taking so many pass plays, but dude, your run offense is looking spectacular. Like, why are you continuing to keep throwing the ball, especially when you're up too?
So the problem with that is their offensive coordinator. Lester likes to throw the ball. He's used to having Sky Moore and like all these different receivers at Western where he can just throw it up to them.
You're not in the MAC anymore. You're in the Cyhawk game.
Playing big boy ball now, and he can't just throw the ball up to his NFL receivers.
Well, that and Iowa hasn't had an NFL receiver in God knows how long.
I know that we can draft Cade McNamara to the Motor City Panthers or Detroit Panthers. And then we can bench him one more time.
Okay, but ask your question, Justin, because I think this is funny.
What question?
Davis Warren, or Cade McNamara.
Let's go around the board here. I'm not even going to go Rocco Beck because that's obvious.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Right, so Cade McNamara or Davis Warren?
Go ahead, Noah.
I'm going to take Cade McNamara, man. I think he's still a better quarterback than Davis Warren.
I think this is my one quarterback of the day that I'm going to take Davis Warren. Cade sucked.
Yeah.
Cade sucked a lot. And
Yeah,
Davis
probably
wins them this game if he plays for Iowa.
I don't. No quarterback
Yes, he
wins this
does.
for Iowa.
I
Okay.
actually agree with Andrew on this one. So, in the Davis Warren or the other guy segment, we're 1-1 so far.
Davis Warren completes more than 13 passes for Iowa.
Not with those Iowa receivers, man.
Well, his receivers.
Yeah, his own receivers suck
I hate to
too.
break it for you.
Yeah.
But he has Colston Loveland. He has one
Davis
playmaker.
was throwing against a way tougher defense and put up.
I don't know, man. Iowa State's got a tough defense, bro.
I think Texas is a lot better, a lot more talented than Iowa State.
Texas,
you know what? That hasn't always been true in the secondary position. I will say that Texas's secondary last year was sorry.
Yeah.
I really didn't have much. But Makuba, we didn't mention this in the Michigan game, but he played a hell of a game for Texas. He's a Clemson transfer, so put a little transfer spotlight.
Known.
Yeah.
And then
I wish Michigan would have did the little transfer spotlight with like a quarterback or something.
They should have gotten another guy in the secondary, man. They got toasted through the air.
I would die for like a Cam Ward right now. Just saying.
Would you start an OnlyFans to get Cam Ward?
I would start an OnlyFans.
You guys heard it. You guys heard it.
Pictures of my hairy back and ass to get Cam Ward here. If we could go back and rewind the hands of time.
Would you take Aiden Childs over what you have in Michigan right now?
Okay, whoa. Okay.
I would.
All right. Well, we should have saved that for later. But
yeah.
The final game that we have scheduled, obviously, we're going to talk about Tennessee, NC State, which we kind of can already talk about anyways. This is the last one set for graphics. Penn State, Bowling Green, really close game. I thought Penn State played well offensively still. It's not like they played bad. Just defensively, that's kind of concerning because I thought they were good against West Virginia last week. And then Bowling Green's able to pass it all over them, which it's probably not going to matter in the Big Ten until they play Ohio State. Or does Penn State play USC this year?
I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think that one is actually at LSU.
Yeah, it's at LSU. At USC. We'll play Wisconsin next week. Air raid Wisconsin.
Wisconsin struggled with what's their face, South Dakota today. So I'm not really worried about that matchup.
Drew Aller was Drew Aller today, kind of. You know what I mean? He was more of what the Drew Aller was last year. Really, it was the running game.
Yeah, the running game. Nick's
backs over 100 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, Drew Aller, and this is kind of what I thought with Quinn Ewers too. They need stuff schemed up for them. They're not going to necessarily make great reads. If you saw Quinn Ewers on plays where his main target, the guy he was staring down, wasn't open, especially early in the game, he struggled, dude. He struggled a lot. And then he kind of gained some confidence, but you know, it really didn't end up mattering. I honestly wasn't able to get too much eyes on this game. If I'm going to be completely honest, I wasn't paying that great of attention to it because I was watching Arkansas, Oklahoma State. That game was insane, which I would like to get into that at some point.
See, I was glued to this game because
you were glued to this game?
I saw Bowling Green go up, pulled up FanDuel, put a shekel or two on Bowling Green to moneyline win.
So this game's going to factor into my game for the night. So I'm going to go around the horn real quick because I don't think we have much more to talk about here. All right, so are we taking Davis Warren or Bazelak for Bowling Green?
Bazelak, dude, he was a stud at Indiana last year, and he played pretty well today.
Oh, he picked apart Penn State's defense in the first half. I'd take Bazelak every time.
All right, so I think that's a clean sweep. So far we got 2 for the other guy and 1 for Davis Warren.
You're not going to ask about Drew Aller?
No, I mean that's
obvious.
That's obvious.
All right. And then let's kind of just go across the board here, guys. Talk to me about some games that you guys saw or are currently on right now that you want to talk about? Do we want to get into Colorado, Nebraska?
I want to get into them next, but the game I want to talk about first is this Tennessee NC State game. Because I'm telling you right now,
as you're speaking right now, Justin, Tennessee just scored another touchdown, and if they make the PAT, they're going to go up 51-10.
Dude, let me tell you something right now. After watching Tennessee in that game, I know that we kind of shit on NC State after their performance last week. Dude, Tennessee looks well-rounded and probably one of my top 5 teams that I've seen play so far this year. That defense is fast and physical. Obviously, Nico at the quarterback, Squirrel White, deep threat. They can run the ball a little bit. Dude, they're gonna be a tough out, man.
This is the first time that I've seen Tennessee play really well collective defense. From everything to their pass rush, to their run stop, to their secondary. They have played amazing tonight. And offensively, Samson's a really good running back for him too. Tennessee's had kind of good running backs over these last couple of years. Jalen Wright was drafted into the NFL. I think that Tennessee, man, they got a real chance of winning the SEC looking at it after week 2. Obviously, we have Georgia and Texas. Those are going to be teams. I'm not saying Bama right now. They have struggled versus Southern Florida. So I'm going to hold off on that. But I do think Tennessee is a very well-rounded team. Nico is obviously the real deal. He struggled a little bit in the beginning, but I think it's just funny that these ACC dark horses in Virginia Tech and NC State, they suck. They suck. They stink, bro. Like you don't play good against Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, a team that's historically just the worst team in the SEC since they had Jay Cutler, and then with NC State, dude, you play close with the FCS school?
It was Western Carolina.
Western Carolina, bro. They're not even like a powerhouse in the FCS. It's not like a North Dakota State. And then you go and get whooped. You're supposed to be this contender for the ACC. You get whooped by 40. Everyone's talking about your team. Oh, we got Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. Kevin Concepcion's going to be this breakout player. No. I mean, Concepcion's been all right, and the running back has played really good tonight. But other than that, man, they have been sorry.
Yeah, they're basically getting manhandled.
Syracuse might be the second best. Well, actually, no, Clemson played really well tonight. But Syracuse might be a contender in the ACC. Can we talk about – okay, let's finish up with this. We're not talking about Colorado, Nebraska next because we're talking about a future Heisman candidate here.
Are you staking your claim on another Heisman candidate?
Are you talking about Kyle McCord?
I am talking about Kyle McCord. But
all right, so go ahead and start this one off then.
Dude, Kyle McCord's played good the last 2 weeks, man. He throws for 350-plus yards, 4 touchdowns against a ranked, let's put that in quotation marks because I don't believe it, Georgia Tech team. But seriously, Syracuse impressed me because I did not think they were going to be a good team this year. Yes, I know they have an easy schedule, but still being able to, I know Georgia Tech had that backdoor, we're going to try and come back. But regardless, Kyle McCord played one hell of a game. And for Fran Brown to start 2-0.
And on the other side, though, Haynes King, man, he's a dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm not discrediting.
I mean? Like so that's not even like a fault, like a, you know what I mean, a fugazi win for Syracuse. Like that's a good win. Like
right. I mean,
like Kyle McCord went toe to toe with a pretty damn good quarterback and
led the ACC in touchdowns last year. Now did he also lead them in interceptions? We won't talk about that, but.
So hold on. So are we? So obviously we can't do Davis Warren here because that's just a layup. So
this is probably a good one. Grayson or Davis Warren or Grayson McCall. Justin, I wanted to ask you this first.
All right. The way McCall's looked tonight, honestly, I'll probably say Davis Warren on this one.
Ooh, this is probably the most even matchup. Like, think of like a undercard for like a main event fight. Like, this would be the first round matchup.
This is a coin flip.
I think there's a little bit more upside with Grayson McCall if you can put him in the right system. Because I honestly don't think this is 100% McCall's fault. NC State's O-line has looked like crap all night. But at the same time, I'd take McCall. I think you do have a little bit more upside, but
yeah. So what do you got, Drew? You're the tiebreaker.
I don't know. Because they both stunk.
Oh, yeah.
I'd gotta go McCall, I guess, just for that upside, like Noah
So what is
said.
that? 3-1. The other guy to Davis Warren.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What is going on in Houston and Oklahoma right now?
I just pulled that game up. It's
But here I got an even better one for you: Kyle McCord or Will Howard.
Kyle
McCord after 2 games, bro.
Kyle
I know Will Howard has looked good, but they haven't played anybody yet. Wow, you played 2 MAC schools that aren't gonna probably be that good.
Cuse
Not
doesn't got
even
their
really
horses
putting up
either.
crazy numbers.
What'd you say?
Big
Howard's
Orange.
not even really putting up crazy numbers.
No, and he's got obviously the way more talented receiver room. I'd probably say it. Probably the most talented receiver room in the country right now.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, that's exactly what I was saying. I was just saying Big Orange doesn't have the team that Ohio State does.
Yeah, and I think Ohio State punted like once tonight. Like it was just like a clinic of like they're going to be a tough out. The freshman, what's his name, Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith. I mean,
at 100 yards. Like Judkins had 100 yards on 9 carries and like 2 tutties. Like,
okay, but it's Western Michigan, bro. Like you're supposed to do this.
But they're doing what they're supposed to do, though.
Yeah, I mean that's true. So far
Dame
this
didn't
year,
do what they were supposed to do against Northern Illinois. Alabama's not doing what they're supposed to do against South Florida.
I mean, they're pulling away at the end, but man, that game was way too close for too long.
To be fair to Western, they gave Ohio State their best punch in that first quarter. It was like 12-6 going into the second quarter. Ohio State just went and dropped 300 yards on their face.
Right, quickness.
They had 406 yards in the first half.
That's ridiculous.
Western ain't made for that, man.
No.
Yeah.
They're not. They're rowing the boat up a waterfall, and it's not working.
We want to get into Colorado, Nebraska.
Yeah, I think we should because this is my time to get in your ass a little bit.
What do you mean get on my ass?
It's my time to get in your ass, not on your ass.
Oh, well, I'm not.
Aren't you sad?
Yeah, that's a little.
It's my time to get on your ass a little bit because you've for the last 2 football seasons that I've known you've been on this Dion train and all this shit. And every time they go up against a team that's functional, that's physical, they look like little boys out there on the field, just like they did again tonight against Nebraska. Nebraska's defensive line just pushing them all over the place. Shedeur Sanders running for his damn life. Like, if this team didn't have Travis Hunter, do you know how bad this team would be? Like,
they didn't have Travis or like if they had I won't say Davis Warren level because that team would be 0-12. If they had trying to think of this, like if they had like an Alan Bowman, dude, they'd be like 2-10.
What do they do next year?
It's not Dion's going to take a bigger job. I hope you notice
his ass fired.
No,
he makes way too much money for them to fire him.
Yeah, he's not gonna be fired. He's the only thing that's brought Colorado publicity in the last 15 or so years, bro.
He brings revenue, so as long as they're okay with like not winning,
they're still profiting. People are still going to buy season tickets. He's just going to find the next big thing in the portal, the next big thing in recruiting to show off like a prized possession. He's going to influence some kid he's basically the Bill Cosby of college football, going to influence some kid that's really highly touted to come play for him.
That's not a good comp.
That's I don't know how Dion would feel about that comp you just made.
But I'm just saying, bro, like he's not. I don't know if he's really that a good influence on these players, man.
While we're here, like at this game too, let me mention that this is the first time I've seen Dylan Raiola this year, and I think he looks pretty good. For a true freshman, I think he's going to be pretty good. He protects the ball. You know what I mean? He's got a little bit of that creativity, you know what I mean? He can throw off all platforms. I really was impressed with watching him. He looks like a veteran out there.
Yeah, no, Dylan Raiola is a great player. I was pretty impressed with him tonight. I know he played good against UTEP And I really didn't think like UTEP was going to put up much of a fight, obviously. And it was good to see that he showed out instead of struggling and maybe losing to a non-Power 5 team. But nah, man, I think Nebraska might be the real deal this season. I don't know how good Colorado is, right? And when you try to get into, I'm just going to allude to this again. When you get a ton of players out of the portal and try to replace them at the most important positions, offensive and defensive line, and it doesn't work out for you, it's going to do you no good. There's a reason why you're getting players out of the portal, because they can't play offensive or defensive line at their school. No offensive or defensive lineman wants to leave. That's good. And they already go to the best teams traditionally out of recruiting. You might have a little bit of a diamond in the rough somewhere, like that one Central Michigan tackle last year. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Andrew, you got anything on this game before I tell you guys why Nebraska is going to factor into all of this?
I think my only thing is that the take that I gave you guys in the group chat about how Nick Marsh is going to win Freshman of the Week is out the drain, and Dylan
he could still win it. Nick Marsh played really well.
Freshman of the Week in what, the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Well, it'd still go to Jeremiah Smith, but anyway.
Oh yeah.
Nick Marsh is almost 200 yards.
But this is why, like, after watching Nebraska today, and I Colorado stinks, so I'm not going to sit here and act like they beat somebody good, because they really didn't. But anyway, coming up, they have Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue.
I was going to say Northern Illinois is a scary site.
Hang with me real quick. They got Rutgers, they got Indiana. They do play Ohio State, and then they go to UCLA. They have USC, Wisconsin, and they close with Iowa. I mean, that's a pretty favorable schedule. They could easily go 10-2.
I don't know. No one rolls into DeKalb County, Illinois, and comes out with a win.
Dude, I mean, Illinois just closed out versus Kansas, bro. And Kansas is supposed to be like still a pretty solid team in the Big 12. They were
They
favorite.
do have Illinois at home, though. So, I mean, but they do have to go to West Lafayette, where nobody comes out alive.
Yeah, no, it's not the same without Jeff.
I hate their mascot.
Yeah,
it's not
like
the
big baby running around.
What I'll say is going into the last fight. Well, oh my God, why is Arizona down 10-3 on Northern Arizona? God, what was I going to say? West Lafayette playing there when Jeff Brom is not there. It's not the same, bro. I think Ryan Walters is going to get fired soon.
He made another connection to Louisville.
Yeah,
they played with his pet team,
and they played great today.
Just keep glazing Louisville.
And Purdue,
both my teams won today. I'm a pretty happy man.
Purdue Pete looks like Noah running around with a top hat on.
You know what? If
that's vile.
Does Michigan State play Purdue this week or this year? No. Darn it. All right. Well, next time Purdue plays Michigan State, I'll go to that game and I'll go run around with the top hat and see how much I look like. Maybe I'll try to get a picture. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The scariest mascot still is either the Syracuse Orange or Penn State's Lion, though.
I think it's the Stanford Cardinal, bro. He's ugly. No, he's just ugly, bro. He's not even fucking.
It's just
scary. Yeah.
No, the only reason that Purdue Pete sticks in my head is because when I went to that Big Ten championship a couple of years ago against Purdue, there was a pep rally that they had there. And I just vividly remember him running through the pep rally. And I was like, dude, that is creepy, dude.
No, look up ECU's Petey the Pirate.
That one's not good either.
My ex-girlfriend went there, and I went to a game there. And I saw him, and I'm like, what's that mascot's name? She's like, it's Petey. And I'm like, no, that's Petey the pedo, not Petey the pirate. He's creepy.
I know you wanted to talk
Arkansas, Oklahoma
State,
yeah. So Arkansas outgains Oklahoma State by 300 yards, and they still lose. If you go back and watch the tape on this game, dude, Arkansas makes so many mistakes. Taylon Green throws the worst interception I've seen. They have 2 fumbles. They have a muffed punt that gives Oklahoma State a chance. Dude, this was some of the worst football I watched. I mean, other than other than the successful plays, worst football, actually, South Carolina, Kentucky, the first half might have been the worst football I watched today. But Arkansas, this is terrible, man. You can't be making these mistakes, especially when Sam Pittman, and I think this is just a testament of the poor coaching and attention to detail. Sam Pittman does a terrible job of it, and it really just shows in the Arkansas players. Oklahoma State got lucky that they won. Brennan Presley is probably one of the best receivers in the Big 12. He was making highlights all day for the Oklahoma State offense. He should have had 2 touchdowns, but he had one called back that ended up turning into a field goal for Oklahoma State. But, man, yeah. The fact that Oklahoma State's able to win this game, they got kind of lucky. And, yeah, that's really all I have to say. I think Arkansas lost that game. Oklahoma State didn't win it.
It's just funny how – go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say, I think by the end of the season, we might see Arkansas in the top 25 if they can clean up their mistakes.
But they're not going to. Sam Pittman's
the road's only going to get harder.
And this is the same thing as Deion, too. The attention to detail in the small things and being able to – this is how you don't build a program. Like Sam Pittman had one solid year where Arkansas jumped into the top 25 and ended up finishing, 7-6 to a bowl loss to Kansas. They're gonna have their highs, man, because Arkansas, they still recruit talent. It's still an SEC school. They get some pretty good transfers in their school. Their quarterback Taylon Greed played pretty well today. He threw for 400 yards, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
They also had a running back that rushed for $150.
Oh yeah, Jaquindon Jackson from Utah came to Texas as a quarterback, transferred to Utah, was pretty good in the year that Utah won the Pac-12. And then last year, he kind of just got hurt a lot. So he transferred to Arkansas, man. Runs for about $150 with 3 touchdowns.
It's just like when we were talking about coaches on the hot seat, about a month or so ago. And I felt like it was going to be a race to who was going to get fired first between Sam Pittman and Billy Napier. Now I'm watching it all play out in real time.
They're both trying real hard.
Yeah, they're
trying.
like neck and neck.
Yeah. Hey, DJ Lagway, I didn't watch any of the game because who the hell is going to watch Samford in Florida? But DJ Lagway statistically looked really impressive. I'll have to go back and watch some highlights and see how he played because Graham Mertz is in concussion protocol right now. So
yeah, well, he should probably stay there, honestly. I don't want to see nobody get hurt, but
Yeah. No. Do we want to talk about Alabama, South Florida?
Yeah, we can go there because I've been watching this one a little bit. I unfortunately been watching this one. It's like I'm starting to feel like South Florida's kind of Alabama's kryptonite, dude. Like 2 years in a row, Jalen Milrose looked like a jag.
Jalen Milroe didn't play last year against Southern Florida.
He got benched against Southern Florida last year.
He didn't start. He didn't play at all. It was between.
Benched.
No, he didn't play. He didn't start the game.
I think you're wrong.
No, because remember against Texas, he didn't really play that well. So they went with Tyler Buckner as their starting quarterback. The Notre Dame lacrosse player now.
Yeah.
He ended up starting in this game. He did terrible. So they threw in Ty Simpson. He didn't look well either. Now, that was a really bad weather game last year. So I kind of understand the circumstances of Alabama not playing well. And keep in mind, this game was at Raymond James Stadium last year. But this year, man, I mean, they didn't look good. Jalen Milroe did have a touchdown that was called back where he had a really explosive run. But, I mean, South Florida just played hard defensively, man. A lot of mistakes. Alabama fumbles the ball 3 times. I don't think.
But they did pull away, and now it's like 42-16.
Yeah, they scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. Congrats. You ran up the score, and people that took the spread for your team, they probably come home happy campers. I don't know. I think Southern Florida is a good team, though, man. Alex Golesh, she's building a really good program down there. They made a bowl game last year. Byron Brown, he didn't have the best game statistically, but he still ran over for 100 yards and performed really well tonight. And they have something brewing down there, man. Alex Golesh might be at a Power 5 school. It might be at Oklahoma. I know they just won 16-12, but against Houston, arguably the worst Power 5 team.
Yeah, that's your guy, dude. You're the Jackson Arnold guy.
Yeah. You know what? People are going to struggle. That's okay.
But
you know what?
speaking of struggling, on the other side of it, if you guys care, DJ Lagway against Sanford today, 456 yards and 3 tutties.
Yeah. No, he played.
Here's
he
your
played.
starter.
There's your guy.
Sorry, Graham. Back to the bench.
He should have been out there against Miami, apparently.
No, you do not want to.
Anything.
He needed to start versus Sanford because here's the thing: he's going to play against Sanford regardless whether he starts or comes in the third quarter, right? He's going to get about relatively the same amount of playing time. Graham Mertz needed to start that game because if Graham Mertz is able to lead you against a win to Miami, he's probably good enough to play the whole season and lead you to some success. I don't know how much with how Florida's football team is, but now you got Lagway, man, and he's able to get his confidence rolling against an FCS school. Let's see how he continues to play out. I don't know if you really want to play him that much this year because your schedule's hard as shit.
Yeah.
It's like Viagra if it was a SEC schedule.
Right. Yeah,
It's probably not a great comparison. Oh, by the way.
What the hell did you just say? I zoned out for half a second and I hear Viagra for an SEC.
I'm definitely cutting that into a reel.
That's fine.
Please.
That's great content right there.
Yeah.
You gotta admit it's pretty good content.
Yeah, so all in all, like in the grand scheme of things, this week kind of stunk for college ball. I hope the NFL is better tomorrow. And then we're going to talk about the NFL and recap those games, Tuesday? And then
we're going to recap. Might be Monday. I'll talk to you guys privately. And then I just want to give a around the board before we end this off. And if you're not tuning into the live stream and you're listening on to audio, and we'll republish this as a YouTube video as well to put out there. Boise State's leading Oregon 17-14. Northern Arizona is leading Arizona 10-3 with 42 seconds left in the second quarter. Liberty's down 17-3 against New Mexico State at the start of the second quarter in that game. And yeah, Clemson's going to kill App State. And that's pretty much all the important games that you need to know. There is one more thing I want to talk about before we go, guys. Utah, Cam Rising being hurt and going to the locker room, getting an injury. I turned that game off 23-0, and then I see Andrew's text in the group chat or the screenshot of Cam Rising's been carted off to the locker room. What do we think this Utah team can be without Cam Rising? Because it was a tale of two stories. They didn't score a single point once Cam Rising got out, and Baylor was able to make a little bit of a comeback. Not that much, but you know what? I don't know what the spread was, but it would probably had some impact.
I don't know. See, I didn't watch this game. I saw that on Twitter and sent it to you guys. But the only thing that went through my mind was, there go my futures. Because I did take Utah to win the Big 12. And
I mean, the Big... Yeah.
He broke his hand. That's what the alleged thing is.
The Big 12 is just like a bunch of like B to B plus teams, man, that can win it. No one's really like an A plus standout, that standout student. There's no valid Victorian in the Big 12. It's just a bunch of above average teams that are going to compete.
I mean, you look at Utah last year, they had they were down to their fourth quarterback, and they still competed all the way to the end. I mean, Kyle Whittingham, probably one of the best coaches in the country. If he was ever to take over an SEC program like Florida or something, maybe he could actually turn them around. You know what I mean? So whether they have Cam Rising or not.
Well, Kyle Whittingham's probably going to retire soon. So.
Still confident in Utah regardless.
Oh, before we also go, we have to talk about Michigan State today.
Oh, you were going to kill me if we didn't talk about Michigan State.
Justin, did you actually watch this game at all?
Yeah, I did watch some of it.
Okay. Yeah, dude. Andrew, I'll let you take it away, and then I'll add my input because I think you were a little bit more attentive to this game than I was.
So, yeah, I'm an unhealthy person, and I like to hurt myself, so I watch Spartan football religiously. But this was not the team we saw last week. I mean, minus the interceptions that Childs threw, which those are going to happen. It's his second start ever.
He's only like 18 years old.
He's the youngest quarterback to ever throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in college football, which that's impressive on its own, but he's only going to get better. The receivers, Nick Marsh was a massive standout today. They don't win today without Nick Marsh. The man, 8 receptions for 194 yards and a touchdown. He was clutch when they needed him, down a touchdown, taking it to the house. But I think the biggest standout for me to prove something, I mean, I was scared as hell for this game. Maryland looked like an offensive power. Like, I thought they were going to.
They played UConn, bro.
I don't care. I have anxiety.
I was gonna say, dude, Maryland's been the most fraudulent Big Ten team.
Well, actually, record-wise, they're really good in the month of September.
Exactly, and they give Michigan State fits Maryland and Rutgers have given Michigan State fits since they joined the Big Ten.
Yeah. If there was a coach of the year award given in
2017.
There was a Coach of the Year award given in September. Mike Loxley would win it every year, but
exactly. But like I was saying, I think the biggest thing that happened for MSU, the defensive line still looked good. They looked dominant last week. They looked serviceable to good this week. But the offensive line was able to block a power 4 defensive front, even if it's young and inexperienced. They were able to get push. We saw multiple 10-yard runs. It was just refreshing to see for Michigan State.
Well, let me comment on this from the outside looking in then, because I thought Michigan State's defense looked pretty solid. I watched most of the second half. I think that the quarterback, his name's Aiden Childs. He's a gunslinger, dude.
He has a lot to work on, though. Holy shit!
He's a gunslinger, dude. He's gonna let that thing rip.
Kid's got a live arm.
Nick Marsh is obviously.
It's like 1 minute he's like this he looks like he could be this generation, maybe not generational, but like top of the notch Big Ten quarterback. And the next minute he looks like Davis Warren. So,
well,
1 minute he's Jaden Milroe. 1 minute he's Davis Warren.
We'll take Childs over Davis Warren.
Yeah, I said Jaden instead of Jalen. I'm sorry.
Why are you comparing him to Jalen Milroe?
Not even
because
close.
He's if getting out of the pocket and throwing the ball deep.
Yeah, but Jalen Milroe sucks. I'm sorry. I don't think he's really that.
Wow, that's okay. That's
Jalen.
You're entitled.
Jalen Milroe is an overglorified Joe Milton. Say I'm wrong.
You also hate Dylan Gabriel.
Well,
so you just don't like the quarterbacks.
No, I don't like one-dimensional quarterbacks. When there's only one part to your game and you can't throw it across 3 levels, you're not going to be someone that I really like. Dylan Gabriel is really good at only the short stuff, and then Jalen Milroe, he's amazing when he can throw the ball 30 yards plus down the field. But
I'm just saying that's a comp to what we saw of Childs today. Looked Jalen.
He was slinging it more than Milroe can. I'll say that.
Milroe can also break off a 70-yard run. I don't see that with Childs.
Yeah, and no, Milroe's a great athlete. I think he should be a receiver personally, but
right.
Do the God, I'm forgetting his name.
Braxton Miller.
Yep. All right, that's let's wrap her up. I think we've hit all the games we want to talk about.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening live, or if you're listening to this after on your Sunday morning drive to church, or before you're watching the NFL, or whenever you're really watching this. It could be like 6 months from now and you're like, oh, hey, what do these guys have to say about week 2? Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow our socials at 4th and Goal Pod on TikTok, Instagram, and X. Follow Justin on Instagram at BigJP58. Follow Andrew at Burnsy. That's Burn and SY. And follow me on X at Drury Noah. Fellas, see y'all later.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Peace.